sample households that were successfully interviewed throughout the country. Next slide. So as the chair has stated a while ago, per PSA Board Resolution number 13, series of 2024, there's a shift and an upgrading of the operational definitions of the basic and functional literacy. In the current definition, basic literacy now, or the basic literate, are those who can read and write with simple understanding, meaning those who can follow basic instructions and can compute, while functional literates are those who can read, write, compute, and comprehend. Mr. Chair, comprehension here means a higher level of understanding, meaning being able to deduce or connect information together to be able to provide new information. However, prior to the 2024 FLEMS, the basic literate are those who can read and write, and while functional literate are those who, by several criteria, at a minimum, can read, write, and compute, or can read, write, compute, and comprehend, or at least high school graduate in the old curriculum, or at least high school completer in the K-12 curriculum. The last criteria is what we call an automatic assignment, and this was based on a then Department of Education, Culture, and Sports DEX since 1989. So we were following this up to the 2019 series, but in the 2024, we elected to no longer consider this as a criteria. So we're now going to present to you the results of the basic literacy. Using the new concept of basic literacy, the basic literacy rate in 2024 is 90.0% for 5 years old and over. Mr. Chair, we cannot compare basic literacy rate for 5 years old and over in 2019 using the current definition, because questions on numeracy skill were asked only for 10 to 64 years old in the previous survey round. However, comparing 2019 and 2024 for age group 10 to 64 years old using the current definition, the basic literacy rate in 2024 stood at 93.1%, higher than the basic literacy rate in 2019 for age group at 89.7%. Applying the old definition, on the other hand, the first row, for both 2019 and 2024, we also observe an improvement of basic literacy of 5 years old and over from 93.8 in 2019 to 95.1% in 2024. So you may be wondering how we were able to get the current definition for the 2019 database. What we did was to simulate or disaggregate the appropriate variables or indicators that is found or extant in 2019 in order to come up with the actual definition. We disregarded the old criteria and filtered out and used new criteria to come up with the 2019 based results using the new definition. On the right hand part of the slide shows the actual number of basic literate population. So in terms of number of persons using the current definition for 5 years old and over, about 93 million were basic literate in 2024. For 10 years old and over using the current definition, there were 79 million basic literate in 2024, higher than the number in 2019 at around 72 million. Next slide, please. By region, we note that the basic literacy rate is highest in Central Luzon, standing at 92.8% or 2.8% higher than the national average, followed by the Cordillera Administrative Region, Region 4A or the Calabar Zone, Region 7, and NCR at 92%. On the other hand, BARM recorded the lowest proportion of basic literate population 5 years old and over. This is followed by Region 8, then Region 9, NIR, and Mimaropa from the bottom. Next slide, please. We now show to you, Mr. Chair, the basic literacy rate of population 5 years old and over by sex and age group, which is important to our academic institutions. In this slide, we show that basic literacy rate was higher for females at 90.9% than for males at 89.0%, or nearly 2% higher for the females. For age group, the age group 20 to 24 years old had the highest basic literacy rate at 96.1%. On the other hand, the age group 60 years old and over reported the lowest basic literacy rate at 76.2%. This may look surprising, but it may actually be natural, Mr. Chair, due to a multitude of factors like other than illiteracy, like illnesses or ailments, meaning there are those who may have been previously literate but can no longer do so because either they are of poor eyesight or can no longer write because of specific ailments or illness like hand tremors or inability to write already. The next slide shows now the literacy rate of the top 10 provinces in the country and the top 10 highly urbanized cities. For the provinces, we note that the basic literacy rates were highest in Apayao at 95.2%, followed by Benguet, 94.9%, then Romblon, Nueva Ecija, Bohol, Rizal, South Cotabato, Bataan, Cavite, and Bulacan. For the HUCs, we note that Pasay City had the highest proportion of highly literate 5 years old and over, standing at 96.2%, followed by Cagayan de Oro City at 96.1%, then San Juan, Pasig City, Mandaue, Pateros, Olongapo City, Cebu City, Taguig City, and Makati City. Mr. Chair, we're now going to move on to functional literacy. Functional literacy, using the current definition, meaning those who are able to not just read, write, and compute, but also be able to comprehend specific bodies of information and be able to comprehend them or understand. So for functional literacy, 70.8% were functional literate in 2024, higher than the functional literacy in 2019 at 61.7%. As I've explained a while ago, Mr. Chair, we backtracked the 2019 at the 2019 database and got the information using the new definition. So this trend is also noted using the old concept, meaning at the old concept, there's an increase from 91.6% to 93.1%. On the right-hand part of the table shows the number of individuals, so that using the current definition, 60 million were functional literate in 2024, up from 49 million